We got to fight in an arena, though.
Yep.
In a game called Ultimate Warriorz.
Yeah, it's designed by Guillaume Blossier. Artist was Jean-Baptiste Reynaud, and the publisher was Matagot.
So Ultimate Warriorz is a game where you have an arena, which has one of the coolest features of games where you use the box.
Right.
You basically turn the, I guess it's the back of the box.
Yeah, it was the bottom of the box, right?
The bottom of the box is the arena. You flip the box over, and then you put all these little columns seated into the, in between the boards. And the walls, so it makes this like columns around the outside of the arena.
That actually had no functionality other than looks.
Oh, it looks awesome.
Yeah, going back on it, that had nothing to do with the game.
Yeah, it's unnecessary, but it's great. I think it was really clever.
No, it's cool. I was just saying it had nothing to do with gameplay. It was just, they did that just for looks.
Fair enough. It plays up to 8 players, and each player gets a guy, and you get a deck of cards. I think it's 8 cards, but you only get to play 7 of them. And basically you have a spotting, there's 2 big guys. You always start in the middle, and then you have spots all around it. And so, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's 6 spots maybe around it. I don't remember. Maybe not that many. Well, anyway, you're starting around this middle section, and each player has a different amount of hit points and different amount of armors on their cards and such. And what you're trying to do is basically, 1, survive until the end of all the rounds. And as you do damage to other players, you steal their heart tokens. On the back of these heart tokens are laurels, and they give you points. The first heart that you take from somebody is a big heart, and it's worth 3. So it does do a good job of spreading out the damage, so to speak, because people want to get that first hit on everybody. There's some other rules, like, the first couple of rounds, if you kill somebody, they start throwing stones at you because they want to see a good fight. So you don't want to take damage that way. So you want to let people live and spread up the damage a little bit in the first couple of rounds. Otherwise, it's fair game. And what you do on your turn, everybody chooses a card from their hand. They're going to place it face down, and they're numbered in an initiative style. So the highest number goes first, which is like a 9 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody says, okay, who has a 9? Those players are going to flip them up based on their size of their character. So the smaller guys go goes last in that, so that they basically have an advantage in some way. The bigger guys are always the slowest, but they have the most hit points, and they have some strong abilities and such. Anyway, you say 9s, everybody flips them up, and then 8s flips them up. And on these cards, you have a defense value at the top right. Everything's done in D6s. You have to equal or exceed their armor value on each die that you roll. So if they have a 4, you got to get a 4+ on each die. On your card, you also have 3 stats. You have a movement, attack, and a range, which you may not have both or whatever. Some of them might be 0, but essentially it's how many spaces you can move, how many dice you roll for a melee, which is in the same space as you, and how many dice you roll for a ranged attack, which is 1 space away, or you can suffer a penalty to shoot 2 spaces away.
Right.
And that's it. So you flip over a card, you do your things, you move around, do damage, you roll dice, try to take people's hearts to turn them into points. At the end of the game, the players who are still alive with the most points are the winner. What did you think of this for the first playthrough?
It was okay.
Which character did you have? Oh, the gray guy. Was it?
I had the orc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the orc. It was all right. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad, I guess. It didn't wow me. At the same time, it was okay. It was fair, I guess. I would play it again. I think it might take a couple playthroughs to kind of get what to do, because it seemed like the smaller characters, like I think you played one that had the high armor, that was really hard to get through. Looking back, it's kind of like us as a group kind of discussed that. Well, now we know that when you're one, or if you had 1 or 2 cards that had like an armor of 4, it's like, get him then.
Oh yeah,
because it's really hard to get through. We found out 5 armor is really hard to get through, and 6 is about impossible.
Yeah, I mean, because you're rolling 6, but in this game, you're really not rolling that many dice. I mean, what the most I rolled, I think it was ever 3. Now, some of the bigger characters might have rolled 4 or 5.
Yeah, and that might even been with special abilities too. So it wasn't like a normal attack did that.
Yeah, 2 of your cards do have a special ability. Like one of them was a big guy. He threw this giant rock, and he gets to redirect the damage he does. So the cool thing about that is he can do damage onto lower or players with lower armor values to ensure successes.
Right.
But then he gets to move them to players in the same space with high armor values and it ignores the armor because it's already damage that's being done.
Right.
It's like splash damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. I think that this definitely is a game that you need to play twice or 3 times, and you can have a really bad first game. I think the big characters in a large player amount of game, like if you got like 6+ or 5+,
right.
if you're playing a large player character or a large character, you're such a target because you have like 0 defense basically. You might have like a 2, 3, 4 is your highest kind of thing. You do have tons of hit points, but everyone's always going to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not always, but you see what I'm saying. I mean, you got like,
on your first playthrough, probably.
On your first playthrough, there's a lot of people that's just going to go for the easy targets. The big guys are the easy targets. And if you're playing that big guy, then you're probably not going to have as much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas me, I got that little purple fencer guy, and I was like, man, this is not going to be, he seems like he's going to suck. But then I end up winning the game because literally all but 2 of my cards are 5s and 6s.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other 2 are 4s. And you're right. That's what you're talking about, where if I flip out a 4, that's when you need to turn and, punch my face in.
Right.
So it's me running around and I need to get out of there at that point kind of thing. So each character has I think each character is different enough to where you need to play them once to kind of figure that character out and what order to play the cards. But the order will matter on the people and their style of play too.
Right.
So I think it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to playing teams though. What do you think about that?
Teams? Yeah, that actually would be pretty cool, I think.
I think that I'm a big team playing kind of guy. Like,
yeah, because free for all
games.
tends to turn into, who's in the lead, get them.
It was a bunch of that. He's got way more points. Like if you have a choice between 2 people,
right,
and you both have the same armor value, it's not really about, well, you got 2 hit points, I could kill you, but the other person has 4 and he has like double your points. I'm going to go after him.
Right.
So I don't know. Interesting game. A lot of people say that it kills King of Tokyo. I don't see how they're. Okay, I understand. It's big monsters fighting each other basically in an arena.
Didn't we just talk about murdering other games?
Yeah. No, you can own both these games and be okay.
Yeah, I mean they're way different.
Yeah, I
not even close.
Right. Yep.
I mean it's skirmish style dice rolling, I guess, with standees. Okay, well, you got it. All right, I guess they're similar in that sense, but.
I kind of like the combat in King of Tokyo more. There's just something about rolling D6 and...
Well, the fact that you can, be in Tokyo and hit everyone that's
pretty fun.
Is cool, so...
I don't know. I just feel like I missed a whole bunch in this game. I don't know if maybe it was just luck. Well, I mean, it has to be luck, right? Because everybody's using the same dice and I did poor. Well, I didn't really do poorly, I guess, because I won. But I pulled off a few interesting... I hit somebody with my powder keg. And I rolled really well on that one thing, and it hits everybody in the spot. And so I ended up getting like 6 points out of that.
Right.
So, I mean, I did pretty well, but in a few moves, not across the board every turn. So.
And that's where in future plays, everyone will know, like, he hasn't played that card yet. Don't group up.
And I'll know that, and I'll keep playing runaway cards.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Out.
That I think it could get more fun and more strategic the more you play it.
Yeah.
And it would probably be a little bit more enjoyable.
I'm definitely looking forward to playing this a lot more. I mean, it's quick, it's fast, it's just brutal. So it's definitely a game I could see at least playing a lot of times to kind of get used to it all. So, well, final thoughts, Matt.
No,
Ultimate Warriorz.
We'll try it again.
Yep, I totally agree.